been saying I was rich since I was broke. Yeah, it's a state of mind, you gotta know. Yeah, that it's gonna happen for sure. Had to take my time, take it slow. Yeah, I've been saying I was rich since I was broke. Yeah, it's a state of mind, you gotta know. Yeah, that it's gonna happen for sure. Had to take my time, take it slow. Always felt myself, this isn't new. Always felt I had some shit to prove. Not to you though, to me. Then diesel boys I roll deep. When local girls with a dream, girls, it's 10 years with no sleep. That ain't a Nissan, that's a McLaren. That's what I told myself, that's how I got it. I recognize the thoughts on my mind were directly connected to what's in my pockets. It's in your head, money will come soon as you feel like you already have it. Napoleon Hill, Deepak and Paolo, that's what I read and I made this shit happen. Yeah. I've been saying I was rich since I was broke. Yeah, it's a state of mind, you gotta know. Yeah, that it's gonna happen for sure. Had to take my time, take it slow. Yeah, I've been saying I was rich since I was broke. Yeah, it's a state of mind, you gotta know. Yeah, that it's gonna happen for sure. Had to take my time, take it slow. Get lost in yourself, that's how you find you. Focus on what fuels you and drives you. Recognize the power inside you. Chase your passion, don't chase the money. I knew it was all on me, all my best were all on me. I knew if I called the universe enough, it'd call on me. I believed in non-existent, all my thoughts into fruition. Poke the universe enough, it turns around and grants you wishes. I've been saying I was rich since I was broke. Yeah, it's a state of mind, you gotta know. Yeah, that it's gonna happen for sure. Had to take my time, take it slow. Yeah, I've been saying I was rich since I was broke. Yeah, it's a state of mind, you gotta know. Yeah, that it's gonna happen for sure. Had to take my time, take it slow. Pull up in motorcades, I got a show today. It's all I'm trying to do, hustle and motivate. Choppers a throwaway, hustle the overweight. That's why they follow me, huh? They think I know the way, cause I took control of things, born in the solo way. And if you part of my trend, I make you my protege. Slossing that soldier race, niggas don't know them days. Take you in back of the buildings, make you expose your rage. Take you across the tracks, make you explode the face. Now you official now, but you got a soul to say. I just been cooking that new, I'm about to drop in a few. Think if I call it the great, the people gon' call it the truth. I ain't really trip on the credit, I just paid all of my dues. I just respected the game, got my name all in the news. Tripping on all of my moves, quote me on this, got a lot more to prove. Remember I came in this bitch, fresh out the county with nothing to lose. No, when I count on you, but I don't do this shit for nothing. No, no, not at all. You, but my money real, money real. That you do, oh yeah. So I don't do this shit for nothing. You never read. Passing through stages of life, through the ups and the downs like it's all just another test. Live by the rules like a fucking ref. I got respect and 100 cents. Too many chains need another chest. Playing no games if it wasn't chess. Come from that cloth that you couldn't stretch. Come from that circle you couldn't text. Heavily pressured and under stress, even though niggas ain't sure we was a mess. Honest intent, blame to the left. Judge a young nigga by their dress. Left is no option, what they expect. Only thing we knew for sure is the bait is set. Fuck living basic, I'm taking risks. Fuck what they saying, I'm saying this. Don't waste some time, it don't make you rich, it don't mean nothing, so fuck them, let's make a grip. Double up, triple up, make assist. Ballin' so hard you can pay a bitch. Lead to the lake if they wanna fish. Make sure them niggas around you stick to the script. It should be written in stone. You should come visit my zone. Don't take my word, double check all of my flows. Ask them how hustle got on, but fuck what you heard. It's for who walk down that road. Sold everything but they sold. Straight off the curb. Real niggas rich as you nerds. Address to whom and make it sound. I don't do this for nothing. No.
Victory lap.
Blessed with all the dope talent. Pray they switch their techniques up. Drop so much they can't keep up. Losing count balance. Seen the world and world pieced up. What's the squad without the deep one? Rolling weed, I gotta keep one. Cause life will turn you to a savage. Blessed with all the dope talent. Pray they switch their techniques up. Drop so much they can't keep up. Losing count balance. Seen the world and world pieced up. What's the squad without the deep one? Rolling weed, I gotta keep one. Cause life will turn you to a... I used to think I didn't have it, but I never give up on a challenge. You say I can't do it, I go out and do it. I do what I want, don't ever get it backwards. You must be misinformed. I've been active and animated, got the cameras waiting. I love myself just like I am, ain't no transformations, I've been patient. Flying right under your radar. If you boss up, you cannot be laid off. For what they saying, they drive me. Talk all that shit behind me, this shit gon' pay off. The difference between me and them is I don't take a fucking day off, so my nigga keep laughing while I'm giving you classics, back to back showing compassion. Thank God I'm blessed with all the dope talent. Pray they switch their techniques up. Drop so much they can't keep up. Losing count balance. Seen the world and world pieced up. What's the squad without the deep one? Rolling weed, I gotta keep one. Cause life will turn you to a savage. Blessed with all the dope talent. Pray they switch their techniques up. Drop so much they can't keep up. Losing count balance. Seen the world and world pieced up. What's the squad without the deep one? Rolling weed, I gotta keep one. Cause life will turn you to a...
Tell me how you wanna get it like this. I've been down for a minute, can't fight this. Fuck around, yeah, you know I had to write this. Do it like this, do it just like this. Had to let him breathe. Yeah, you know that's the type of shit I need. I've been working like a maniac, oh yeah. Yeah, that boy finna get it, oh yeah. Me and my homies, we, oh yeah. Me and my homies been grinding. In the studio, you find him. Yeah, you know that boy be shining. I'm spitting, I'm rhyming, remarkable time in my flow. I think I know. Logic, he got it for sure. Murdered this shit with the laziest flow.
Blessed with all the dope talent. Pray they switch their techniques up. Drop so much they can't keep up. Losing count balance. Seen the world and world pieced up. What's the squad without the deep one? Rolling weed, I gotta keep one. Cause life will turn you to a savage.
wanted to be loved more than I wanted to love. But hey, what can I say? Fame's a hell of a drug. Born a slave to a tyrant. It's gonna take more than just petitions and riots. Are we headed for a future of being indebted to credit? Hoping the next leader elected will trump the one we beheaded? Where is the wealthiest rappers will never utter? Them checks they throwing a nigga's a motherfucker. Seems like the future was brighter when I was younger. Seems like the future was brighter when I was younger. I'm torn between performing and rewriting the norm. Am I born to transform or just to die and move on? Be the light that people mourn while reciting all my songs. To the battle I am sworn, sword, dog, armor worn, beaten down to the point for being different. You question old tradition, they just say you superstitious. Like a snake that eats its own tail. The economic system, public schools the babysitter, healthcare's the modern day Adolf Hitler. Fact check. Ever since the internet, molestation multiplied by 1,000,000%. Your aunts and uncles, nieces and nephews all online with the shit. History shows for speaking up, my whole life is at risk. Yeah, I'm cocky, kamikaze, who gon' stop me? Anunnaki, Illuminati, neo-Nazis, they do me how they do Cosby. When you winning, they gon' love you till you lose like Ronda Rousey. Every revolutionary, they execute them proudly. It go JFK, no, MLK, no. Since Lenin got smokers clear, they don't want us to have hope. They tore down our houses, replaced it with dope, and say that it's our fault. So you wanted to fight, so you wanna be brave, so you found the light and you've seen the truth and you feel betrayed. Well, it comes with cost, a price too large. 'Cause if we're really just gonna die, I'd rather let it be. Stay in school, they said. Use your tools, they said. But being on TV looks pretty cool, I said. That's true, I said. Must I remind myself? These corporations ain't your friends, you should have signed yourself. They, who are they? They are us, we are they. The pyramids.
Yo, yo. All right. It's that time of the day. Tell your friends. Tell your abuelita. Let's make some good decisions, yeah? Look about money. All right. Get the camera going. All right, y'all. Let's get into these beautiful charts. First and foremost, happy and grateful to be here. Another day alive, blessed. Oh, got oxygen in these lungs. Give me 1 second. You're good. All right, so let me get into the chat. Say what up to everyone that's here live with us today. All right. Feeling good, man. Feeling good. What's up, everyone? Kais, I'm great. How are you? Ruben, what's happening? Brandon, Gallardo, Harshi, Lana, Steve, morning. Happy new day, new opportunities. That's right. Joe, Kare, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo te sientes? Edgar, everyone here from Latam, toda mi gente aquí que habla español, escuchando, haciendo el esfuerzo. Bienvenidos. Let me know where you're plugging in from. Jose Alejandro Rizo Porras, De La Rosa Ramirez Gutierrez Hernandez. What's up, Michael? Taco Tuesday. We're getting some tacos, folks. Today is the day we all eat. Let's go. Buenos dias. Yo, Wag fan. Wagyu to you as well, I think. What's up, Larry? We had actually like 400 people on yesterday, Steve. It was a good one. Switzerland. Sick. Happy Tuesday. All the way from, I see, UK, Kazakhstan, California, Colombia. Copper shorts. All right, we can definitely look at that. I'm thinking copper for long-term investments as well. Maybe I might get into that tomorrow. All right. What's up, Isaiah? Hey, happy belated birthday, bro. I know I said happy birthday yesterday, but happy birthday to you, Isaiah. a legend. All right, so let's get into the market. Today, we don't have any high-impact news, but the fun begins tomorrow. Tomorrow, we have Trump speaking about an hour before New York Open. Thursday, we have some more high-impact news an hour before New York Open. Friday, we have more news 15 minutes after New York Open. Thank you. So let's get mentally prepared, and let's dive into this. All right, so just so you guys know, right, if you're new here, my name is Mike Navarrete. I've been trading for 10 years. On the stream, you'll see me trading about 3 million, give or take, in funds. You'll only see one account trigger. That's the leading account, and then the rest we're going to see happening. So, yeah, you'll see me live trade, obviously, everything I talk about here. So if you didn't see me execute it live, then that doesn't mean I'm in a trade. I'll mark up a lot of potential ideas, but sometimes we need extra confirmations for those to be good to go. So stay tuned for that. If you're not in our free community, check out the resources in the description, and then there's like QR code stuff scanning throughout the session up below me. So, all right. Anyways, with that being said, yeah, there might be a Trump speaking at 1, so be ready for that as well. But let's dive into it. Let's get into it. Lots of volatility last night once the volume kicked back in here post MLK. So let's talk about it. Let's look into this. Where did we go? Where did the market take us to? And like we talked about yesterday, right? We had conversation about NQ getting back into these imbalances, into this area, and it finally did, right? We saw not just with the gap down, but after the volume kicked in here during London session, we traded right into this order block right here. Actually, very nice. There's a nice little bit of a movement here. That bearish price, the break and retest, this lures in some bears, and then it rallies. So typically you can see reversals around these areas. So we got that right there. And after that happened, the market has quickly worked its way back up, trading into the sell-off that it created. So this to me looks like a potential, what we would call a shakeout. You see the market work all the way down. Here we go. So yeah, we see this climb its way back up after we saw the market, just selling off during London session. We can look at actually just NQ itself here. Got a nice bounce here with NQ actually. So maybe some of you went for this trade during Asian session, London session, right around here. Maybe you guys took this. This should have been a reduced risk break-even trade for some of you, if you did. But for the rest of you, yeah, you saw the market work its way down, took out tons of liquidity. It worked its way back up, climbing up. The market's been maintaining these highs a lot better, and you see quite a bit of liquidity here. So the only thing that I don't necessarily love about this idea is that when we started to see the market work its way down to here, we've kind of already came back up into the entire thing. Same thing goes with S&P and Dow Jones. So we've already worked our way all the way up into the zone, and then now we're starting to work our way down. Typically, I like to see the market just kind of fill the sell-off. So that isn't, markets are never going to be perfect, but that does make a difference for me. So, yeah, let's go. And I want to see how the market opens here because it looks like there's a lot of liquidity to take out here, retail buyers, the last 4 hours or so. And I think we can trade right into this imbalance. Same thing here. S&P has this liquidity. It looks like it could take it out. And then Dow Jones is pretty close to already filling this imbalance as well. So I think with New York Open here in a little bit, we can trade down to here and then rally. This is how I'm looking at the market so far. Curious to what your thoughts may be with this. Do you agree? Are you seeing something maybe a little different? So this is my perspective here. Gonna go for a trade right there. And then gonna kind of ride this out. I mean, we have Monday's Asian session to target. This imbalance would be the first target. So let's make it like a list of what is most likely to happen. First and foremost, the London session highs taken out. This has the highest probability of happening right around here. So you have a setup here, right? Number one. Number two, this would be an exit, very high probability. If it is going to reverse, the likelihood that it hits this. From there, the second would be filling this imbalance, so taking this where we have some structure and balance. And then the third would be to take out the Asian session highs over here. So this would be the between the three, like how far I would take this. But even the minimum would be about a 3R. So I'm cool with that. I like that. From there, now let's just open up potential ideas here and look at what else we can go. So we saw Dow crash into this imbalance. Doesn't quite even fill the rest of this in. This can definitely work its way down. And there was this zone marked up over here from before with Dow Jones where the market can crash back into this little sell-off before the continuation. But right now it looks like Dow is a bit more bearish than NQ. So I am just mindful of this. We did trade out of this structure. So you see how we had resistance here and an imbalance. So it did reverse off of this. I don't typically take entries off of structure and imbalance meeting, but I do like exits around these areas. So we'll keep our eyes open. You know, we'll be mindful of price action between Dow and NQ as we have New York open here in just a couple minutes. So we can have both here. You know, why not? MYM, H 2026. So we'll be ready for something like that if that's the case. What I'm going to do here, though, is I'm going to have this here ready to roll. So I'm going to set my entry here. Because we did climb a little bit higher than where it started to sell off from, that does not make this an A+ for me. So I'm going to use a little bit less risk than I normally would here. All right. Let me check here. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay. All right, so we're less than 4 minutes out. New York opens here. So that's the first idea. We'll come back to this here in just a couple minutes before New York opens just to be ready. Outside of that, we've had a lot of volatility with majors, with metals, with crypto, oil. Like everything is moving. So let's tackle on metals first because what a bullish run. And it's so sad because I wanted a shakeout setup right down here, and I just wasn't able to sneak into it. So we can all cry about this together. But yeah, right around here, I wanted that setup and then just let it rip, and the market didn't quite give this. So right now, am I taking any positions? No. No positions here, in my opinion. Even looking at the 1 minute, the 5 minute, you are getting a 5 minute break above. The market's been trading up here for 25 minutes or so. But with that being said, what am I looking for intraday buys right now? Either? No. This looks like just a lot of liquidity, a lot of equal highs. I'm not really in love with any price action here with gold. Gold is a bit more bullish than silver itself, so it should be good in a second. Yeah, it should be all right. Silver does have this big spike down. See a nice big move down here before it rallied. So I could see some people wanting to buy right here with silver. This happens during Tokyo session here. Unless gold starts crashing first, then this doesn't seem like a good opportunity. I mean, just look at where we're at, Like we are extremely, extremely bullish here. So the main ideas, which just might take a little bit longer, would be to buy off of that last crash that we got on Friday. Friday, we got an epic crash here shortly after New York session starts. And this is where I would want to see some buying. All the way down here. We get the market to just crash around here. So let's see if I can get an even smaller time frame going. So like right here. So this just starts to bleed out. Rejects one more time and just melts away. So this entire zone is just a massive, massive smart money sell-off. And I think we can get back here. It's just going to take a little bit of time. So this is where I'd be looking for buys, whether it's gold, whether it's silver. This is where I would be entering the zone. And then down here is really where I would want the actual trade, somewhere within this area, this imbalance. And then just keeping an eye out between gold, silver. They're going to have similar ideas. But let's go focus on indices here. The open is about to kick off. So let's see if we can work our way down, trade down into this zone, and get our trade going. So let's see here. Here comes volatility going up first. Okay. Let's see. Dow, a little bit less momentum. And by a little, I mean a lot less momentum. We're already seeing NQ take out these highs over here. So a bit more bullish momentum. Dow trades up to here, but in my opinion, it just creates equal highs. So I would not want to get in the way of selling Dow Jones. That's just not my trade to take. I'm not looking to take out this resistance over here. So I'm keeping my cool over here for sure. This might be actually creating more liquidity for NASDAQ. Obviously, we start to crash from way up here. So this entire thing you could actually consider as one massive sell-off, just a continuous sell-off on a higher time frame. So I'm going to keep that just in the back of my mind here before, considering anything. And then now what's changing is look at how Dow is actually holding a bullish structure a bit better than NQ. NQ actually took out these highs, but now it's just losing a lot of momentum really fast. So there is a chance that, let's say, Dow wants to work its way into this zone, then that shakeout on Dow might make a bit more sense. So let's see. NQ, for me, made a lot of sense for the buy because we came back up into this area very quickly where we had seen support, the break and retest, these sellers entering the market. It makes sense. Whereas if we're looking at Dow, Dow starts to crash from way up here, and then the market comes in to form resistance a couple times, worked its way back into the zone. But could we really consider this a shakeout for Dow Jones? Do we really come back into a break and retest area? Is this really giving us that exact setup that we want? So I'm mindful right now of any entries. I might delete this if the market starts to give price action that doesn't really make sense for us. But what we're starting to see now Dow here fills in the entire imbalance, trades up into London highs. So we're seeing more resistance. More retail sellers have an opportunity to get into the market. So, but a big spike up here, right? Big push into this zone as it now it's crashing. So here, just looking at this from the 1 minute perspective, big pump from Dow, but also big drop from Dow. So will this break these lows right away? Is this going to lure in more buyers? You know, we'll see here in a second. What's up with this? All right. So look at the NQ holding structure, pretty decent. As quickly as it dropped, it's still wanting to trade here, while Dow Jones, has crashed and it's only staying here. So the longer that this stays bearish, the more it's giving evidence that it wants to keep going lower. So I'm not looking to buy Dow if it keeps dropping like this. And then especially if NASDAQ gets on the same page. Now, if NQ is only just screaming to the upside and Dow is pushing to the downside, then maybe we have an opportunity here. We have something to look for. But if that's not the case, then it's really not much that I'm looking to do here. So going to give it some time. If we start to break below down here, then we can consider something. But for now, just going to let it print. If you guys have your other different thoughts on how you want to approach indices, let me know. Let me know in the chat what you're thinking about. Now, Dow Jones worked all the way back down, actually broke below here briefly, and then now it's starting to kind of climb back up. So these are typical setups where I would say like, hey, this could be one of the ideas where it's luring in more retail buyers just to make another leg down. But if it's up and down so aggressively, apparently these sneezes are symbolic. Excuse me. So I don't know what that means about the market. But we'll see right now. Let's see what this is doing. A part of me thinks we could still short this. Ideally, I love if we do get a breakout like we did right now, and the market like quickly comes back in. I like looking for this sell. So my set, the context here is that it liquidates retail sellers here with the push up. The market comes right back down, so it doesn't show us that the market truly wants to stay up here. And then if the market stays over here, just luring in more buyers, then we can see a sell-off. I don't typically like when it breaks below the smart money, where the smart money move kicks in. So this kind of drops the probability of the play. Typically it stays within the zone and it just kind of chops up. And then, 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes later, we get our move back up to here. So right now it's pretty volatile. We want to see price action kind of stay suppressed for longer. That's at least my preference when looking for, when we're noticing if a spike up or spike down is truly creating like a trend in that direction, or if it's just, looking to liquidate positions. So right now we came crashing down. We chopped up sideways for, 3-4 minutes, not too much. So I don't typically take this as proof that these highs up here were of low demand. This could keep going, and it's very much possible. So I'm going to, unfortunately, well, not even unfortunately, but I guess we want to be in the market, right? That's like typically what we prefer. So I'm going to stay away from the market for now until I see more. The market needs to just give me solid proof on where it really wants to go. Right now, the trend, the direction is a little unclear. Because, yes, we trade up to here and immediately drop back down. So not a lot of demand, not a lot of need There's not like this. The buyers don't love these prices. Sellers don't love these prices. They're having more competition down here. So for this to come back up so fast, typically I would have taken a trade up here, but only if we would have seen a bit more of a tug of war in price down here for longer periods of time. Right now, we're not necessarily getting that. So not getting absolute proof of an entry. So I'm going to stay put here. And also, if we're looking at S&P looks like it's kind of building up liquidity. So I won't be shocked if we see S&P kind of trade a little bit higher. And that should bring NQ, Dow a bit higher too. So what else could happen here? We had a lot of squeezing. So there's so much liquidity. Jesus, there's just so much money up here. Just all this. So if the market targets that, that's a possibility. Now, if we see this is another option. We might see Dow finally break above. So we might see it break through these highs and then lose that momentum. So if we see it like this, then we can look for the short and then ride this further down. Something like this is very much possible. So I'm going to have my alert here set up. So if we work our way higher, we can look for a short. If not, then cool. There's nothing for me to do. Again, I'm just showing you how I trade. Other forums, they work in specific scenarios. There's so many different ways to trade. If someone tells you that there's one way to trade, then they're lying. Plain and simple, they're lying. And two, they're probably just incentivized for you to do what they do in one way or another. So for now, let's let the market give us more information. Okay. Regarding metals, right, we're starting to see things, work their way down here with New York Open. We're seeing a lot more momentum to the downside. The Open created the high so far. Here, it looks like after everything here was said and done. And then we're seeing silver also kind of made a little push down before a little recovery. So here's where we're at. Let me bring this right back in real quick. So look at this. NQ now pushing down quite a bit. Big move down. We started to see, right, New York Open here kick off this bullish momentum. So NQ popped off, came back down, popped off again. And then we have now Dow is holding up this structure much better. So things are getting interesting over here with price action. They're kind of back and forth. Can't really quite narrow down the intention here. So how will we work back into this imbalance? Is it going to be NQ? Is it going to be Dow Jones? What's it going to be? Indecisiveness. So when the market is super volatile, there's people looking to enter this on both sides, right? There's people in sells that are in profit. There's people in buys that are in profit. And everything else in between. So it's going back and forth. It's picking up orders on both ends. On both ends. Super interesting. All right, so metals started New York Open pushing downwards. We didn't work our way down to this this sell-off that we got here during Tokyo session. You see this little drop. You see gold do something similar later on. So right now, these definitely have different market structures. Like at 12:30, big spike down for silver and rally. Gold doesn't really make the same kind of movement. It's a lot smaller. A lot smaller. That move here happens with gold, but it's a very tiny little drop. Right here, small push down, and then a continuation. I'm not sure if that's where we would get our big reversal here with gold. So I wonder how we work our way up and down. So like I said, right now, what's super clear, maybe later we get a different kind of, price action, different movements. But right now, the clearest trade would be to wait for gold or silver to work their way down to this Friday's push down and not really rush it too much. I don't have super high probability sells either. We do get a nice move up here shortly before, right before New York Open. We see kind of a nice push up and then drops, but we're not getting evidence that the market is now bearish with gold. Not even a 1 minute shift of time frame. We break below this, but this is so brief. It doesn't show me that there's demand for price down here. So gold, not really doing it. And then you have silver. And silver it's kind of starting to switch up a little bit. The 5 minute gets below, but it doesn't stay below, guys. It doesn't stay below here. It breaks below, but we're not seeing the market truly trade below. It's way too brief. This is not good signs that, this is now bearish. So I think we're going to end up clearing these highs again for silver. So I'm not getting in the way for metals by any means. Just chilling here. All right, and we're seeing Dow and NQ continuing to push higher. All right, so we've broken above these highs here with Dow Jones. Dow here on the 1 minute starting to get a bit more bullish than NQ now. So now we can start to witness whether we're going to get, opportunities for shorts. Dow takes the highs. And then as soon as it takes the highs, we start to see it crash down. And this trades above not a whole bunch, let's be honest. 4 ticks, 4 points or so. But as soon as it clears liquidity, it immediately works its way down. So for a position to be in effect here for sells, I do need to see this. We need to see that the market, one, did not want to establish any demand here. So the fact that this price didn't last here means there was this one guy that was willing to pay up here, and then everyone's like, nah, you're crazy. We're not paying for that. We're not paying for this at that price now. So for this to come down and we see more orders exchanged at this area, then cool. Then we can look for a short. Something like this is now what we would be looking for. And look, as soon as, now, look at the difference, right? Now, again, Dow is way down here. And NQ is still trading up here. So in order for this to play out, again, we can't keep seeing the market crash and then leave, also just not stay down here. So the more often we keep going back and forth like this, for me, it's just all right, I'll stay out of the market. Because that's what it's doing. Remember, the market is incentivized to incentivize you into the market. That's the whole point. This whole thing is orchestrated to pull you in to making short-term decisions, to making emotional decisions. Human beings are relatively predictable, especially if you're taught how to think, right? If there are certain ideas that you are taught to follow, then, and everyone knows this, then of course that's going to be used on you. For example, what are fundamental truths? People do things to get closer to what they want or further away from what they don't want or from what they don't enjoy. That's a fundamental fact. So that's why that's always used in advertising. That's used in marketing, right? It's used in, you see it all the time. So it's the same thing here. Think about it this way. The market is basically marketing buy opportunities and sell opportunities to you. Not good kinds, though. They're marketing. It's like they're pitching you the fast food of trading. Like, nah, just take it here. Look at it. It's down here. It's buy low. Come on, get in there. Good. Come on. We're up here. Buy, sell high. Even though that might not necessarily be the true intention at that moment for the market. That's how when you learn to interpret, like, okay, what's actually happening behind the scenes here, and being patient enough for the market to give you exactly what you want, exactly what you know. Okay, over time, this, statistically speaking, kind of works. That's what we want right now. Right now, that's what we want. Right now, we want to see our setups come into play. So we saw this crash down. We're starting to see this build up again. All right, if we can kind of just squeeze here for a little bit, then cool, we can take a position here. If that's not going to be the case, well then, we got to look for something different. So with the way the market's moving, there's still kind of two different ideas. Like, I still think this NQ buy down here has potential. Just one. And then what I want to see prove itself is the Dow Jones sell. But every time we spike up and come back down, we just don't maintain enough demand at these levels. Price kind of comes right back up real quick. So there's signs that, you know what? These prices are actually relevant. That there is a need for this. So, like, I'm not just going to go and force my way into the market here, right? It seems like we're going to get another leg up, and then maybe we get something like this. So, to me, still not quite there yet. Okay. Now, for those of you that follow natural gas, oh my God. What a move, right? Absolute rampage. And right now we're getting that sell-off. I don't remember who brought this one up. Somebody brought this one up here. Someone in the syndicate brought this to my attention. I was looking for a short somewhere in here, whether it was here or a little higher. I think I wanted this a little bit higher. I didn't take a position here, but you're definitely getting that, starting to see evidence of that reversal. So good stuff there. The 1 hour time frame is now definitely bullish. So, like, this is an insane move. And then oil here. Do we have opportunities with oil? What do you guys have? Actually, before I keep just yapping here, let me bring up the chat. Let me see what's good. Took an NQ, but hey, break even. That's cool. I've been loving silver. Yeah, everyone loves silver until it blows your account. Quick 100K. Thanks, Mike. How do you differentiate between watching price action and being confident with your original setup? I follow price action, not what I originally thought. So what I think originally is based off of what I have, what the information I have at that moment. The information changes. So if the information changes, that I have, if the market is giving me different context, then I'm going to follow that. It's like, just because you think it's a good idea, it doesn't mean it's a good idea. And that just is like, you have more context, you have more clues, you have more data. So that's how I follow along with it. If there's something that now is showing us the opposite, like, hey, this is no longer valid because of this or that, then all right, cool. Like, I got to be okay with the fact that all of my original ideas aren't genius and are going to make me a ton of money. I'm cool with that. Yeah. Hello. What's up, Juan? Creativos chidos. What's good? Man. So, yeah, YM right now, I would love to be, involved in some of this, volatility. We're seeing this thing range like 100 points every 3 minutes right now. But this is how you get caught up. That's how you get caught up with something. Okay, oil. So, our buy orders playing through. Fantastic. We're seeing nice dips. Accumulation looks very clear, in my opinion. So we see a nice sell-off here before a continuation. So just looking here at the 5 minute. Here's where everything starts to crash down. Let me know. Can you guys hear me well still? Audio. Yeah? Okay. Cool. All right, I just want to make sure you guys can still hear me without having my mic in my mouth. All right, so we got basically a huge sell-off from over here. And then you see, all right, where are we at? One sec, just double checking a couple of things. Okay, so you have the market start to crash here during Tokyo session, work its way down. This clears all of this choppiness and all of this. So we had Monday building up liquidity during London session, all throughout New York, and a majority of Asian session. This crashes down here. You could argue that you have a final sell-off right there as well. And then you then get a great reversal from here. After this, we break above at around 4 a.m. Central Time here. And so for the last, give or take, 4 hours, 4.5 hours, we're trading above this. So the buy on oil looks great, in my opinion. This looks like a really clean setup, something that I'm more than willing to take over here. You've seen tons of support in the past around this like 58.90 price action, a little bit higher as well. So because of how small the zone is, I don't need a super tight entry here. I'm pretty cool with taking buys where we've seen other levels of support and resistance here, right around 59 flat. So I'm okay with taking a trade right here. The RR, in my opinion, looks solid. So I'm going to actually pull up the micros chart. I don't think I have that saved on here yet. So MCLH 2026. Get this over here. Get that over there. All right. So here is basically what I'm looking for. Right here. And looking at, 59 flat. Let's zoom out a little bit. Here's what we're seeing right now. We just cleared out a good amount of liquidity. So there's another maybe small time frame idea forming there. But here, oh, you know what? Post it right there. And then right now it looks like, and I'm sure you guys are probably in the chat going like, Mike, there's a shakeout on the 1 minute. Go. So I'll pull that up here in a second, but I do like this idea here. So I have a limit set on oil. Now, what about the 1 minute? We just ripped and destroyed all of this liquidity here, trading into this imbalance. And then we're in the 1 minute here, moving sideways, the break, retest. So can we get a short in this zone? I kind of like it, right? We clear the highs. We come immediately back down. We're starting to move sideways here. So we drop back into where we had some resistance. I like the idea. Yeah, we're going against the market. We're going against the trend. But I'm cool with this. And I'm willing to see this drop back in at least to, let's say, this imbalance. So I'm down with an order right here. And then I'm going to take 3/4 risk on this from here. So I'm live on this one here. And then let's see this play out right over here. Okay, so let's see what happens. If it loses, it loses. That's cool. But with the squeeze, luring in tons of retail buyers, the market clearing out this liquidity, now trading into the zone, could we get a reversal here after it's lured in all of these retail buyers? Totally. And then this could work its way down to, if this thing lets me, man, this thing's getting in my way. Whatever. This going down to like here. So even if we're just trading the smaller of time frames here, this is still like over a 3R, just working its way into the imbalance and really nothing else. So again, but the main idea, the main psychology behind this setup is that a lot of liquidity is obliterated with this massive leg up here. From here, we trade into an imbalance, and then following the imbalance, we are now, getting that break and retest in here. So this is luring in buyers. I'm willing to risk, right? So risk is it's basically like, am I willing to put money on the line to find out, to see if this is going to play out, if this is going to pay me one more, like what I risk? Is it going to pay me twice as what I risk? Is it going to pay me 3, 4, 5 times what I risk? So in this example, I was willing to see this play out to get about 3.3 times more than what I risked. Is it going to play out? Who knows? Obviously, the closer it gets, the less likely it feels like it's going to be. But at this point, I like the odds enough. And that's why I also didn't risk 1R, because 1, it was counter trend, and 2, I would have preferred maybe a deeper pullback before something like this. But, I mean, we moved sideways for some time here, about 20 minutes or so. And I like to look at it from this point of view. If this trade were to lose, so I think about it that way first. If this trade were to lose, would I be, let's say, upset with myself for taking it? Would I feel like, you know what, damn, man, I shouldn't have lost that. Like, I didn't have to lose that. Would that be running through my mind? If that's not running through my mind, then because of the quality of the opportunity, then cool, that's a valid trade. Now, if I'm thinking, man, if I lose this, like this is going to be unfortunate, I got to ask myself, why? Is it because I don't want to lose money? I just don't want to be wrong, period? Or is it because of the quality of the opportunity? In this example, I like the opportunity enough. It followed a lot of great rules. It was only a 1 minute setup like this, so I knew that it was a little bit more vulnerable, which is why I didn't risk $500. I risked like $360. But I'm at peace with that, because if I'm willing to risk $360 to make like, I think it would be probably around like $1,200 on this trade or something. So yeah, that's the case. And that's also why when you're in drawdown, it's easier to maintain. When you're, you're not like, oh my God, I'm 2 ticks away from getting stopped out. I hate my life. I'm going to blow an account. Like, why did I do this? Like, I always do this. Whatever, all those thoughts, right? It all comes back down to the quality of your decision, the quality of your risk. And are those in alignment? So, like, we were like 2 ticks away from getting stopped out, unwavered. And now we're around entry, whatever. So, at what point do I adjust this, right? At what point do I change something here? Yeah, at what point do things change? So for me, it would be if we keep crashing and we sweep liquidity, then I would, I guess I could tighten up by 2 points. It makes a difference, it adds up. But until then, everything kind of stays the same for me. Interestingly enough, oil was actually on CL, which is where there's more volume. It was actually only hit 60.47, not 60.48. So I wonder, that little tick makes a difference, man. One tick makes a difference. All right, so while that's doing what it's doing, let's go check in with indices. Let's see what's happening over on this side of things. Oh man. Hello, US 30. I see you've decided to melt away here. So Dow pushing lower and lower. After that, just after it spiked up to here, came down right back up, survived that, and then just building up more and more liquidity over here. So interesting. Dow is definitely showing us that it's more bearish than NASDAQ. So that's fine. That's okay. It's leading the move to the downside. And Q still kind of holding up here. So the buy, in my opinion, remains solid. Okay, oil here. Every time it pushes upwards, it is starting to lose momentum. So this is a good sign. This is looking pretty solid. Now, targets wise, right? Why did I choose to target this? Here's where we have imbalance filling, and then also where we just meet a bit of structure. So we got support, resistance. I talked about how we have a setup opportunity for buys down here. I'm just not sure if we're going to get here right away, because we don't have to, right? We don't have to get all the way down to here right away. It could, because this would be, because New York Open was like barely right up here. So getting down to this area really is just trading into London session. So can the market, does the market have that kind of volatility? For sure. We still definitely have that. So it could just work its way all the way down to here. And that would be obviously even more profits. But this, I think, just getting down to here is a high probability play, a 3R. Dude, I'm cool with a 3R. And then in case this wants to, reverse back and then get down here later, I don't got to deal with all of that. We're good. So let's see, right? And that's obviously us just considering the best case scenario. Now look, we're in here, we're in the zone. Now we're kind of starting to squeeze again, right? We're starting to move sideways a little bit here. We've been kind of chopping up here for 7-8 minutes or so. Typically that's a good thing, because that only means that your reward factor goes up. The longer the market squeezes, the more volatility you can have. So the worst case stays the same. The best case, it's kind of only giving us more signs that the market can give us a big breakout, which could push lower. So yeah, trading to here makes sense. My exit here is 59.78. Let's see where we go from here. All right, any questions on the entry, exit, profit, target? Let me know. Obviously, you guys know now the methodology behind these ideas. Nothing is random. All the trades are calculated. What's good? Had me screaming at my chair. That's funny. My entry was at the structure. Good RR. Sweet. I'm going to blow an account. Nice. BTC coming for that gap on futures. I'm on a 1-to-1 right now. Oh, nice. Yeah, you got a much better entry. You probably took your entry right there. Yeah, okay, we can take a look at Bitcoin. Sure. Bitcoin went crashing down right now. Beautiful. We like to see that. Stack up. If you've been saying, bro, I just wish I had cheaper Bitcoin, bro. I wanted to buy, but like I forgot my wallet at home. Then here's your chance to, right? At least dollar cost average or something. So yeah, now all of these nice little support, these wicks getting down to here. Okay, pretty nice. I think there's still a chance that we work our way into 80 on sub 86. That would be just a mass liquidity event. However, this 4-hour structure is solid over here. Like this 4-hour structure is very, very solid. I like this quite a bit. So maintaining these areas, I think it can hold this. What does ETH look like though? Ooh, okay, that's better. So ETH is well below all of this. Look, ETH with massive liquidity sweeps, trading into structure again. Here was the big sell-off, right? So now Ethereum is trading into this price action, back into January 1st, December 31st, like these days, right over here. So look at the divergence. We're seeing lower lows on ETH. Meanwhile, Bitcoin still got those higher lows. Those higher lows, baby. Oh, yeah. These are typically better signs that going for Bitcoin buys can be more likely. But the question is, where? Where is the entry here? Because you ask me, man, I'm not really seeing it. Sure, there's structure, but is there motive? Is there financial? Is there monetary? Are there orders to be swapped somewhere here? And I'm just not really seeing them. So, I mean, unless we have like the smallest of little sell-off right there, which is possible. Don't get me wrong. This is very much possible. I mean, got a little buy right there. A little sweep. Is this it? Is this what? Are these the signs? Oh, we already traded out of here. Oh, no, that looks all set and done. So don't necessarily want to just pull the trigger here for the sake of pulling the trigger. Yeah, not really seeing the entry opportunity here. So what I'm going to do is this with Bitcoin. I'm going to let this play out, right? If we see different elements, then I'm going to I don't need to catch the very, 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 very bottom. That doesn't need to be the case, right? By any means. This can crash. If it comes back in, then we can look for the next bounce. So we can let the market show us that it's okay. Yep, we didn't really want to we don't need to be down here. We just wanted to liquidate some orders. Let's come back in here. So if we get the shakeout, then we're good to go. So this could, come back in, chop, and then something like that, right? If we get something like this, all right, I'm in, I'm game. So we'll wait and see. Oil still squeezing. For me, everything stays the same. I'm not changing anything. So if we lose, we lose. If we win, we win. And Q is bouncing though. Okay. We'll follow up with that. Someone remind me in a little bit to check in on that. Let's go check in on indices. All right. Our friend Dow here working its way into the imbalance right over there. Very nice. Very nice, very nice. So we are seeing more bearish momentum with Dow. NQ holding up over here. No entries on NQ. Not up there. I have my entry down here. So not going to chase anything. Keeping it cool. Dow, obviously, as soon as it clears to these buyers, comes into imbalance, looks like it's starting to push forward. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to last, but that's just what's happening right now. So don't let an active candle trick you into too much, right? This isn't done yet. Okay. All right, so we'll go back to that. Let's go take a look at the dollar pairs, right? What are these dollar pairs doing? What are they cooking up over here? So we can move on from all this. We saw the push down on Australian before the market then just continued to rally. Similar situation here with NZD, but leaving equal highs. Euro spiked down and then just ripping. Similar situation with the pound. So it looks like where we have incentive is really the market open for the week. Market opens right here and then just it gaps all the way down and then fills it right back up. So if you go, here's the 5 minutes to get some perspective so you guys can see this. This was the gap down. Huge, right? Huge just gap down here. My bad. From right there. Gaps down, market rallies. So we have definitely imbalances over here. And a lot of the dollar pairs are the same thing. So at this point now, what we're looking at is what's gonna, how are we gonna end up down here? Out of all the dollar pairs, what's going to maintain bullish structure more often? What's going to bring us to this zone last? It could be euro, could be the pound, could be CAD. We just kind of we got to give it time. Give it time. We're not necessarily at any entry opportunities there yet. Now, with that being said, the euro did do something interesting, which was it obviously ripped up and cleared out the previous highs way up here. So we traded right into here and then immediately lost all of this momentum. So obviously this has a big, big, big spike up right here at 730. It's a big move up, loses all of this. We're not quite making lower lows yet, so I would prefer a lower low before looking for any shorts. So give this, again, this isn't convinced. I'm not convinced on anything there yet. The yen also cracks these highs. So here you go. Take a look at this. All right, breaks through all of this, trades into the order block, and then immediately comes back down. So I would definitely prefer. The yen is giving us signs that it's got a sell opportunity over here. So you have that similar price action. Big move up. So what we want, or at least what I want, I'm telling you what I want to see the yen just keep trading below this. If we keep trading below, then we can look for opportunities to sell later over here. Because right now what we want to basically have the market prove is that there is competitiveness in price down here, not up here. That the only reason it went up here was to take out sellers, to lure in buyers, but that's not really where the market wants to head. So this is it. Now, maybe some of you are looking at buys too with the yen, right? You think, okay, well, look at this. We crashed down to here. And then this liquidated tons of buyers, came immediately back up. But from what I'm noticing, every time when it broke above this, it came right back in. It came right back down. So up and then right back down. up and right back down. So it's not giving me tons of confidence on the idea. Plus, this drops right into equal lows. So I'm not in love with that. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. This looks more like the market needs to go upwards to these levels to just lure in more buyers, liquidate sellers, and then it comes down, it comes down, it comes down again. So I'm definitely leaning more bearish with the yen than anything else. So I would prefer, sells out of this zone later on, but I would need more, just a bit more. I want to have more candles printed here. All right. So let me just start. I've thrown a lot at you guys, and I want you to be able to organize this information. I realize that not everyone is going to remember everything. That would be impossible. So if you want to track the ideas and just kind of chop it up with other people about it, then make sure you're in the community here. So we got 6J, aka the yen. And then there's possibilities here. Possible opportunity for a mitigation sell, waiting for further bearish price action before committing. Cool. Okay, I'll come back to the majors, but let's look at these. What are these guys doing over here? What are these indices doing? What y'all up to over here? What are we doing, guys? All right, we cracked below this, traded into the imbalance, came back up, coming back down. Okay. NQ is finding like, you know what, man, I'm getting tired of the view up here. What are these prices down here doing? So NQ starting to work its way down. Cool. Bless you. Okay. Idea stays valid for me for now. Would love for Dow to be even lower, maybe even breaking below London lows. And Q, trading into that zone. That's kind of the ideal scenario. Okay, cool. That can, that'll build up over time. All right, so zooming out here again. We have the buys here with Australian potentially might be for euro. Right, there was a couple options that had very similar ideas. So the buys over here with 6A. So I'll go ahead and I'll share these. So you got 6A, basically AUD USD. Similar chart. You have 6J or 6E, which is Euro USD. Um, 6N as well, but they have the liquidity, so I'm cool with that. Here is Euro. Okay, there's that. You have the pound as well, right? Big. Here's like the move. So very similar across the board. It's a matter of patience. Like I wouldn't get too caught up on any of these exactly. Like, oh, it's got to be this one or it's got to be this one. Just let the market show up. about Swiss franc? Not so much. Okay, cool. So it's I'll add a little context. Virtually the same setup. At this point, just waiting to see which will hold the structure best. Trade the lagger. All right. Oil just kind of going back and forth, man. Just choppy up in here, squeezing. Either it's going to take us out, whatever, and then, you know, take the loss the way you need to take the loss. Or the breakout, this will just clear out tons of liquidity trading into this order block or way down here. So, yeah, just gotta wait. Just gotta wait and see. The other idea, right, we have here. I'll post this and I'm gonna add NQ and everything else in here as well. What is that? Silver alert. Okay. All right, so silver trading down here now. Worked its way down to this zone. Meanwhile, gold is holding much better. The structure is much better on gold. So gold is not even breaking below New York open price, whereas silver is. So at this point, I would say that buying silver, I think, can be sketchy here. So no estoy comprando plata ni nada. Está bajando más bajista. All right, so I'm cool, chilling. You know, I know it's really attractive to get into gold and silver because of all the volatility, but I don't think it's necessary. Right? I don't think it's necessary to chase ideas, to chase volatility. I think it'll probably get you into more trouble, more than anything. So yeah, I'm cool. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up this NQ idea still. Here. Oh, oil starting to work its way down. Finally getting some momentum. Sweet. All right. Oh, wow. YM popped. Said, honey. So this played into the imbalance. Unlike NQ didn't give us a chance. And then this thing just ripped. Dang. I had you all wrong. This is unfortunate. Just gotta pour one out for the homies here. Since, yeah, you know, Dow just ripped. Didn't invite me. Gonna have to just drink about it. You know, some salt water and lemon to heal the wounds. I drank way too much. Okay. What's cool here is that we might have a different setup. So you do see a clear sweep below of the liquidity and then it rallies. If the market decides, and you know what, actually, hold on. Right. Dow did trade all the way down into, you know, January 5th price action. And then NQ traded all way down to here, right? So 18th of December. No, never mind. Well, anyways, if we end up maintaining a bullish structure here, let's say we keep trading here, then yeah, we might be in position for some buys later. But that has to happen this way specifically. If not, then no dice. Or the other option is also possible, where the market could do, you know, it could come back in right away instead, and then we could look for a sell. There's kind of two ways to look at this, right? We might just come back in, do this, and then we might get a short. There's kind of two routes to this. We shall see. All right, so there's Dow, potential, got ideas. Put these up front. So YM, aka US 30 for some. Looks like oil is going to take us out right now. Came all the way back up. Let's see. Yep, there it is. Actually, it took me out early. Look at this. Oil technically is still in this zone here. MCL took me out. That sucks. If that were to play, if this plays out, oh, I would be salty. So salty. But this is like a tick. Nah, bro. That's crazy work. But that's all good. All right, so small loss here with oil. Not going to chase this or anything. It ends up making equal highs anyway, so this would be escaping by just like a, you know, by a tick, by a hair or two. All right, so I took a 0.75 RL on this. Let's see what Dow ends up doing. And then NQ still has this idea as well. For me, this is still an opportunity. Like, we didn't liquidate all of this. So NQ still giving this option. All right. That basically covers everything. So y'all got that there. Oil coming right back in. Silver hanging on there. Gold working its way down. Don't have any extra setups there. And I think that's it. Let me just check in here with Bitcoin. Look at that. Bitcoin did. All right. So Bitcoin did show us this move here, right? So we were looking at, here was the sell-off. Here's was where everything just started to melt away. Following that, we have, you know, everything dropping. So if we play back into this imbalance here, honestly, I like a buy right here. If we can drop back into this here, we just might have a buying opportunity. So I like buys around, you know, maybe 90. Well, we'd be looking at a futures contract. So closer to, yeah, 90, 250 on MBTF if you're looking at futures. If you're trading anything else, if you're just like trading this on your own, then this is just the zone that I'm looking for Bitcoin. All right. Awesome, guys. Well, obviously not a, didn't go our way here, the trade. Made equal highs, and then, actually, did it tick above or no? Yeah, actually, no, yeah, I made equal highs, and then drop back in, coming back up. I have no incentive to do anything here, so, yeah, it's not something I would re-enter or do anything at all. I'm just gonna keep it a wash there, keep it, not do much. Stocks related here, bloody day in the markets. Actually, hold on. For some, Intel is still ripping. Yo, let's go. Overall, though, yeah, it's not looking too good. Maybe some of the bigger. I don't know. I don't know. How are indices even bullish right now? Oh, I guess because they gap down. That's why. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, well, folks, leave it there. I might be looking at a Bitcoin buy. You guys see all the majors that I've sent over here, the indice ideas that we're staying mindful for, and then going from here. Let's see what these. Let's see what else we got. Looks like structure is starting to settle out though. So cool. Now, don't fear the market moving forward. If you did take that oil trade and you took a loss, it's part of the plan, part of the game, guys. Keep it a buck. And then from there, just tap into the community. If you guys have any questions, any ideas that you like, drop them in the community. We'll go ahead and look at them. People give feedback all the time, including myself. Any free resources, check them out in there. And then, you know, as always, guys, if you want to have a 1-year transformation of your trading process, scan that code to the right. But if you want to enjoy all the free stuff, then scan the code on the left. Much love, and tomorrow we'll be on a little bit early. So take care, guys. Till next time.